What is going on, Nana fans? The 49ers have a league high 9 players named to the Pro Bowl. We got to talk all about it. The 49ers lead the way in Pro Bowl votes. They lead the way in Pro Bowl players. This is crazy. Brock Purdy led the NFL in Pro Bowl votes, and he's one of the quarterbacks to the NFL Pro Bowl. Hopefully the 49ers aren't even playing in the Pro Bowl, but hey, it's nice recognition. Let's talk about it. The 49ers had Brock Purdy named officially to the Pro Bowl. That makes him the first 49ers quarterback named as a starter of the Pro Bowl since Jeff Garcia. That is a very long time ago. Do you know how many years we've sat here and cried and argued about quarterbacks over the years? We finally have our franchise quarterback in San Francisco, and his name is Brock Purdy, the last pick in the NFL draft. He's officially not going to be starting this weekend because they want to rest him, and this man has officially been named as a Pro Bowl quarterback. That's incredible to me. This guy has come in, and he's just dominated as a quarterback, MVP candidate for most of the season. You can say what you want about Brock Purdy, but you cannot take away how great of a first season he's had, first regular season as a starter. And, it's one for the record books. He set the franchise record in passing yards, 4,280 to be exact, 31 touchdown passes. He had a QBR of 72.7, number one in the league, a QB rating of 113.0. He led the NFL in Pro Bowl votes. What a guy. Brock Purdy, man, heck of a season. First Pro Bowl. You got to love it, man. Much love to Brock. He deserved every single one of those votes, and I'm so happy. I'm so proud for young Brock Purdy, the glorious QB1 of the 49ers, and he gets much-needed rest this weekend. Sam Darnold will be playing. For Brock Purdy. It is what it is. I know some people are saying you shouldn't rest Brock, but guess what? The Rams are benching pretty much their whole starting lineup. They're benching Carson, they're benching Matt Stafford. They're putting in Carson Wentz, and this is going to be the battle of Sam Darnold versus Carson Wentz. Absolute cinema, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy it. Get your popcorn ready. Let Brock Purdy rest. You don't want to get this man injured. Do you know how many years we've sat here and waited for a franchise quarterback, and all the injuries this team has sustained through the quarterback position? Please rest him. I'm glad he gets that day off. You don't forget how to play football in 2 weeks. The 49ers will be fine. They'll get to rest their stars, and they'll be back healthier than ever. The Rams will be sitting the following players against the 49ers: Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, Aaron Donald, Tyler Higbee, Ernest Jones, and Joe Noteboom. So makes no sense to start Brock Purdy and most of these starters. So I know they'll play, but we don't need to get Brock hurt. My man RG Teamster says Purdy got that dub in his first start. He stays ready. Absolutely, man. Brock Purdy doesn't need this game or anything. He'll be ready. He'll be rocking and rolling. His first game he played, he got a dub. Right? They threw him into the fire. Jimmy G goes down. Miami Dolphins, oh my God. Everybody thought the Niners were going to lose, but boom, Brock comes in, and they didn't lose a beat. And we all know what happened after that. He became the starter. I'm so happy for Brock Purdy, though, man. One of the 9 49er Pro Bowlers. Let's go through the list because the 49ers led the NFL with 9 players selected. We just mentioned Brock Purdy. It's great for him. They have Christian McCaffrey, well-deserved. If he would have made this Pro Bowl list, it would have been crazy. Offensive Player of the Year candidate. This guy has been so amazing for the 49ers. He's been just an incredible running back. I love this guy. One of the best players in the NFL. I'm still lucky. I'm still pinching myself over the fact that the 49ers traded for him last year. It's just been magic since we got Christian McCaffrey. He's great. Today, he did say that his calf feels good. He could have played if he needed to last game. It's just precautionary. You don't want to do anything stupid. So he will be back come playoff time, which is great news for everybody to know. The reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa, was named to another Pro Bowl. Javon Hargrave named to his second Pro Bowl, first with the Niners. The guy's been a monster in the interior. Kyle Juszczyk named to his 8th Pro Bowl, a NFL record for Pro Bowlers, man. Kyle Juszczyk is just a dog. George Kittle is named to another Pro Bowl. You love to see it. You love to hear it. Charvarius Mooney-Ward was named to his first ever Pro Bowl in his career, man. Shout out to Mooney-Ward. He really turned into a star this year. All-pro caliber in my mind. This guy came in, last year, big free agent acquisition, and everybody says, he's worth every penny, and he was really turning around in terms of the secondary. He was really helping turn the secondary over. And this year he says, look, I want to be all pro. I want to be Pro Bowl. I got personal goals. He says, if I start turning those PBUs into interceptions, I'll be the best in the league. And he's been absolutely clamps over the last couple of weeks. He's shut down some big receivers, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, to name a few. This guy has been an absolute star at the cornerback position for the 49ers. Charvarius Mooney-Ward, shout out to him. First career Pro Bowl selection, man. You couldn't be more happy for a guy. Fred Warner, his third Pro Bowl selection. I mean, it's a given. He's the best linebacker in the NFL. For most of the season, he was in that Defensive Player of the Year conversation. So shout out to Fred Warner. This guy is the captain of the defense. He's incredible, man. I love Fred. Shout out to him, man. And Trent Williams, the legend, the Hall of Fame left tackle. You got to love it, man. This guy is just one of the reasons why the 49ers win games. If it's not for Trent Williams, the offense doesn't run as good as it does. He's such a great blocker in the run game, in the pass game. Everything he does is just incredible. We see how much he loves this team. His first time he's ever been a number one team that was a number one seed, like the emotion he wears on his sleeve, the amount of love he has for Brock Purdy. This guy's a tremendous captain, a tremendous player. So shout out to Trent Williams. Much, much, much deserved for him to get his Pro Bowl selection this year. I love Trent Williams, man. Hopefully they get that man. Hopefully they get that man a ring this year. My man Luka the Don says, I love how Mooney got over the penalties. That was one of the reasons why he maybe didn't get a Pro Bowl last year. A lot of tic-tac penalties. He's a physical corner, press man cover type guy. But this year, he's learned how to kind of adjust. He's learned how to cover without getting these tic-tac penalties. And you're absolutely right. The amount he's grown in a year is incredible. And I'm so happy that he became a Pro Bowler this year. So, yeah, shout out to these 9 players. The 49ers did have some players that were named as Pro Bowl alternates. I wish some of these guys were starters. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, 2 guys that probably could have been starters. But, the wide receiver department is pretty loaded in the NFL in terms of Pro Bowl. So, I guess you can kind of make it an argument here and there. But here's the Pro Bowl wide receivers for the NFC starters. You have CeeDee Lamb, you got A.J. Brown, you have Mike Evans and Puka Nacua. He's a rookie, but he had a heck of a rookie season, one of the best rookie seasons of all time. Mike Evans, this guy's been constant. One of the only reasons, the Bucs have been getting offense. This guy, every single year, he gets touchdowns at a high clip, 1,000 yards. A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had a fantastic season, and A.J. Brown had a stretch where he was just one of the best receivers in the league. Although, shut that boy down in the last couple of weeks. The Eagles have been kind of but hey, he did have a great season. You can probably argue Brandon Ayuk and Deebo over those guys, but it is what it is. They did get named as alternates. I wish Brandon Ayuk would have got named as a Pro Bowl starter, but again, that 4 list, you can kind of argue it either way. They were deserving of it. A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb had great seasons. I can't take anything away from them. A couple other players that were named as alternates. Arik Armstead, if he didn't have that foot injury, he'd probably be starting. Deommodore Lenoir on the cusp. Next year, he'll get it, man. Deommodore Lenoir broke out. I told so many people about how great Lenoir is, and he really put it together this year. They moved him from outside to inside. He was all over the place, and he had a fantastic season. If you consider he played all over the field, secondary was kind of struggling at one point of the year, and he turned it around and just became a very good cornerback in the interior, in that slot position, and he was playing outside. So, Deommodore Lenoir had just a great season, man. And I think next year, if he continues to improve, just like Mooney Ward, he'll finally become a Pro Bowler. Oren Burks is a alternate, linebacker. He's a great special teamer. Dre Greenlaw, an alternate. That's crazy to me. Dre Greenlaw is probably as good as any other linebacker in the league, other than Fred Warner, who's on his team. So it's kind of unfortunate. If Dre Greenlaw was on any other team, he'd be a linebacker 1. It's just crazy how great the 49ers linebackers are. But he is an alternate. Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz, 2 guys that were named as alternates. Tabor Pepper should have been a starter. Mitch Wishnowsky and Chase Young was also named as an alternate. So all those guys were alternates. Interesting that Jake Brendel and Colton McKivitz were alternates, but Aaron Banks was not. I think Aaron Banks was probably the best guard we had on the team, other than, best lineman on the team, other than Trent Williams. But Aaron Banks did have some injuries, and, he's not really known to a lot of people for whatever reason. I don't know why people weren't voting for Aaron Banks. But again, you have to look at the whole offensive line. These were the guards that were selected for the NFC: Zach Martin, Chris Lindstrom, and Landon Dickerson. I guess they're bigger names. And, Aaron Banks just didn't get enough to even get to that spot. But hopefully next year, Aaron Banks can become a Pro Bowler. This guy's great. But again, at the end of the day, none of this matters. The 49ers want to win a Super Bowl. So hopefully we're not even playing in the Pro Bowl. But it is nice to see these guys get great recognition. That's what they do it for. They get bonuses, they get recognition. So it's good for them to be named and voted in as Pro Bowlers. So I know a lot of people say it doesn't matter. For them, it does, because, again, they get bonuses, and it's nice for them to get the recognition. So, always vote. Every year, try to vote for these players. They deserve it. They work hard for us, and we deserve, helping them out. Help them out a little bit. Get a little vote. But again, running backs, you got Christian McCaffrey, man, well deserved, and Kyle Juszczyk at fullback position. Those two guys were just money for this team. It's the run game is the bread and butter of the 49ers. Happy for them. I'm happy for everybody that got named as a Pro Bowler, man. I think more specifically, I'm so happy for Charvarius Ward and Brock Purdy. Those two guys were named to their first one. Mooney Ward, look at this. These are the NFC cornerbacks. You had Duron Bland, who had a great season, probably a defensive player of the year caliber season with all his interceptions and pick sixes. You had Charvarius Ward. You had Jalen Johnson. Niners almost got Jalen Johnson, but they didn't want to give up. They wanted more for him. They wanted like a second rounder. Niners didn't want to give up that second round. Could you imagine the 49ers would have really had Charvarius Ward and Jalen Johnson? It's scary, but they almost got him. They were this close in getting him during the trade deadline. Just didn't fall through. And Devon Witherspoon, though, he had a great rookie season. So shout out to him. Shout out to this squad. These are great cornerbacks. The safeties, the 49ers did not get a safety named to the Pro Bowl. Unfortunate this year. I think Hufanga probably would have made it had he stayed healthy. But Jesse Bates, Budda Baker, and Julian Love are your Pro Bowl safeties for the NFC. So unfortunate we didn't get a safety, but you can't get a position at every, player at every position. Would have been nice. But definitely proud of this team, proud of this roster. 9 players made the Pro Bowlers, man. Crazy. 49ers are just amazing. John V was good. But yeah, it's great to see all the success this team has. And, it's great to see the 49ers on top of the world. Number 1 seed. They had the most votes. They had the most players in the Pro Bowl. Like, this seems like a season that everything is going our way. Injuries are definitely there, but every team's dealing with injuries. But I feel because they have that bye week, once the playoffs come, they're going to be very well rested. And I think things are going to go their way. I feel like everything is going to go the way it needs to go. That's how it's kind of went this season. They've battled through adversity. They had some tough losses. They've learned from them, and they battled through it, and they've put together a beautiful roster. 9 players in the Pro Bowl, 12 alternates. This team is just a special team. The vibes are incredible. First place in the NFC West champs for the second straight year. I don't know what else to tell you, man. This is a fantastic team. It's been a fantastic season. You got to love it, man. You got to love it as a fan of the 49ers. So let's see. Any questions there? See what you guys are thinking. Let me real quick. 2024 NFC quarterbacks. Now that we're looking at all the players, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. Those are your 3 NFC quarterbacks. It's interesting that Jalen Hurts was not named a Pro Bowler. Can you? Eagles fans, some are crying because Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Matt Stafford. I don't see Jalen Hurts. We crushed those boys. AFC quarterbacks, you got Tua, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes. Pretty all deserving. Yeah, very good. Man, oh man. My man Rick says, this is our team, San Francisco 49ers, the NFC West best team. NFL loves Mahomes more than Stroud. It would have been crazy if they would have put CJ Stroud in there over any of those AFC quarterbacks. I think eventually he'll get in there, but I think Patrick Mahomes, he's Patrick Mahomes. Name alone deserves to be Pro Bowler according to the NFL. So my man Julius says Ryan Suckup is the only Mr. Irrelevant to make and win the Super Bowl. Purdy up next. I saw that. I think ESPN posted that. The only Mr. Irrelevant to make it was Ryan Suckup. Red Eye says, remember, Pro Bowl is 50% fan vote, 50% players, coaches vote. So, yeah, it means something when the fans vote, but it definitely tells you who the NFL coaches and players are rocking with when you see these final rosters, because certain players led in votes. I think Brandon Ayuk was among the top vote getters, but the NFL didn't pick him to make the Pro Bowl as a starter. They looked at CeeDee Lamb and AJ Brown ahead of him and Puka Nakau. So it just shows you that it's not just the votes. It definitely matters, but you're absolutely right. It's not 100% dictated on the votes by the fans, but it's a big part. 50% is a big part. So my man Shades says Nakua ahead of BA. That's a crock of SHIT. Yeah, you think? Do you guys think Brandon Ayuk should have been chose over Puka Nakau? Do you think that was a snub? I mean, Puka had a fantastic rookie season. When they didn't have Cooper Kupp, this guy was putting together a banana season. Although Brandon Ayuk, you put him on any other team, he's a number one receiver. The 49ers have such a loaded roster. Sometimes he's not the first option anymore. You got Kittle, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got Debo, CMC, all these guys, and it's just like sometimes somebody gets forgotten. But the fact that Brandon Ayuk put up 1,300 yards is mind blowing. That just shows you how good of a receiver he is. Very consistent. It was a career season for the guy. So I definitely think that he deserved to be in the Pro Bowl, but it's hard for the NFL to look at him better than CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had a fantastic season. AJ Brown, you could make the argument. I think Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk probably could be argued over AJ Brown. Now, again, AJ had that stretch in the middle of the season where it was like, wow, he was a NFC Player of the Month, I believe, at one point. And then after that, the 49ers came into Philadelphia, crushed their soul, and the Eagles just fell apart. They weren't the same team. They were not the same team. They did not score like they were. And I could see people being a little upset that AJ Brown being voted over Brandon. I see it. Not just because I'm a Niner fan, but it's absolutely kind of crazy. Brandon Ayuk was so consistent through the year, you know. There was a point where he was injured. When he came back, you know, he's a little quiet, but overall, for the most part of the season, very consistent. So pass drop, for example. So yeah, Red Eye did make a good point that there were times where he dropped some critical passes, and I think that might have been the downfall. You're right. We did talk about that many times here through the season, that BA has to step up. He has over the last couple of weeks. After the bye week, I said, listen, this guy's got to put together touchdown scoring plays, and he's been scoring touchdowns. But there was a stretch of games where Brandon Ayuk did drop some passes. So Red Eye makes a good point. That could be the reason why the voters and the league, you know, maybe didn't choose Brandon Ayuk over a guy like AJ Brown or you know, Puka, because there were some critical junctions where Brandon Ayuk maybe dropped passes. But it's a very small, you know, fine line here and there. What separated, you know, Brandon Ayuk from some of these other guys. He'll get it eventually. You know, maybe now he knows, he's like, next year I ain't dropping a single pass, right? So very, very, very close for him to be a Pro Bowler. I think he'll get it done eventually, but I mean, it would have been cool to see Brandon Ayuk get that Pro Bowl nod. But hey, we got 9 of them, and it was nice to see 2 players get their first Pro Bowl nod, Mooney Ward and Brock Purdy. But yeah, I agree with that comment 100%. That definitely he needs to clean up those drops. He did have some critical drops, so good point. Looking back at the season, that is a very good point. So, you know, you can't make those types of critical mistakes if you want to be a Pro Bowler. So I respect the opinion there. If a drop pass was a factor, Kelsey wouldn't have got in. Ooh, Luca. Yeah. That's definitely a good point to make. But I guess tight ends this year, I mean, Sam Laporta definitely, right, deserved. George Kittle deserved it. After that, you know, the tight end market wasn't as hot as it, you know, usually would. Like Travis Kelsey definitely had his worst season in a long time. This was not a dominating Travis Kelsey season, but I think a lot of times, okay, of course the fans vote him in, but then when the coaches and the players they vote, they see a guy like Travis Kelsey and they respect him. They've seen how many years he's been consistent. So I think that goes into it. Just like Red Eye said, you know, the fans and the players, or the fans have 50% of the vote, but then the coaches and the players have the other 50. And sometimes being a guy that's been a stand-up guy, a great quality player for over the years, and he gets the respect of his coaches and players, that's sometimes a huge factor, because they'll say, you know what, he may not have had his best season, but he's still a great player in the league. We respect the hell out of him. We see how hard he plays. We see how hard he prepares. Sometimes that goes into it, and that allows a player to be a Pro Bowler. So I agree. There's so many factors. But again, 49ers, I'm just happy that they had 9 players named to the Pro Bowl, and it's been been pretty good. It's been a good week. It's been a great season for the 49ers. Again, the ultimate goal is not to make the Pro Bowl. It's nice. It's great for the accolades. It's great for their checkbook. But I want to see this team make the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hop off for a minute. I got another show coming up soon with my boy Aaron. We're going to talk about all the news. Busy day. I love you guys. Make sure you hit that like button. 49ers, 9 players in the Pro Bowl. Let's give them a round of applause, man. This team worked their asses off. The job is not finished. Bang, bang. Niner gang. Y'all have a good rest of your night. I love you.